I'll start then.
Okay.
So this is the first time we've met, isn't it, really?
It is, yep.
So yeah, this is going to be quite interesting because I could say anything. You'd be like, who's this guy? Right. Right, I'm Brian at Create anyway, from the construction company. We've got a turnkey property business. But today we're going to talk things construction and who are you guys? So we may as well get you straight into it. Do you want to introduce yourself? Who goes first?
You go first.
So I'm Chloe Farrelly, and I'm doing property with Chloe, which is bespoke sourcing, and I'm also going to be doing my own developments alongside that. And then obviously I'm at Jade, and you're doing your thing.
Yeah. So hi everyone. So I'm Jade Ellis. I have a portfolio of like single buy-to-lets right now. And I'm also going through a journey of education in the Property Investor Network with Simon Zucci for a 12-month program. So really intense and learning there and just trying to grow and focusing on SA at the minute.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So are you both through PIN then?
So we met at PIN
Okay.
this January.
Yeah,
This year.
yeah.
We met at PIN. It was both our first night networking, and we swapped numbers instantly and just connected, and then we've texted ever since.
Yeah.
But Jade then went on to sign up to the mastermind. I'm not actually on the mastermind, but I do go to the PIN networking events every month, and we were just at the PIN Awards on Saturday together.
I love it. And how did the night go?
It went really well, ended quite badly.
Well, depends who's asking. Really,
No, I'm only kidding. It was really good to connect with new people and nurture relationships as well. I got a lot out of it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Do you know what I found as well? I meant to say this to you. Do you know, driving back on Saturday, I was literally like reflecting to myself and thinking, wow, we only went there for the first time in January, and how many people we actually knew in the room on a personal level, but then also, I mean, there were loads of people there that I wanted to speak to that I didn't get a chance to speak to. But when you think how many people on a personal level and other people, because you followed their journey on social media as well in just such a short space of time.
Do you know what? What I find in property as well, it is quite clicky. A lot of people do know a lot of people, but what's very interesting is the cycle goes really quick, or it grows really quickly.
Yes.
So a lot of new people come into the industry. In fact, these training platforms, as long as it's sort of like good training, then I'm very supportive of it. But there are a lot of negative training platforms out there, which we're not going to get into that today. That's a different kettle of fish because I mean we'll touch it from why I believe it's negative, but not too much. But then also there's the ones trying to exit the market as well. So you don't really see those because they've not come from an area of social media, things like that, and they definitely don't network today.
No.
They're looking to exit. But it'd be good if we could actually close that circle because where they're looking to exit, we're actually trying to buy.
Yeah, we're trying to connect with those people.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, isn't it? But yeah, do you get many of them, the people who are looking to exit, do they come to these award nights?
We get them at the PIN meetings. Like not. I didn't see anyone particular at the. I can't remember, at the event, but definitely to the PIN meetings, local PIN meetings. We get people exiting landlords. Definitely. Yeah. I see quite a few.
Nugget then.
Yeah.
Might be trying to stop up a deal.
Yeah. But there's still loads that don't as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
And it is trying to find them out of the woodwork and try and build those relationships with them, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if to start. Hopefully the guys can pull it up and put it on screen when we launch this pod. But the amount of landlords looking to exit the market now is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
Absolutely phenomenal. So, yes, there's a lot of opportunities.
There's a lot of opportunity.
But there's a lot of fear. It's like new people coming in, or the politics changing, the regulations changing. It's like, this is not new. It's very common.
Yeah.
You just got to pivot and change, Just because one strategy worked one time doesn't mean to say it's going to be the best strategy every time, So as long as you're flexible and you can pivot.
I think that's the thing with property. You've constantly got to adapt, haven't you? And just keep on your toes with it. And like you say, just pivot. As long as you've got a backup of how that strategy can work, then I think you can always be successful in property.
Yeah, of course you can. Because, when we say, are you in property? What we're actually meant to say is, are you investing in property? Are you working in property? Yeah. Well, by definition, you're investing really. You're in it for long haul.
Yeah.
So that can technically be a lifespan, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
What's quite interesting is the term mortgage is death pledge.
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting. So when we're looking to invest, we're looking at either a capital appreciation or a cash flow incentive. That's which one. So really, once you know your strategy, what one you're looking to dive into, is really quite easy because you can pivot to whatever you're looking for.
Yeah, rather than actually looking at it from an SA or a HMO or a flip, you're looking at capital appreciation or cash flow.
Yeah, so like from my perspective, like we will try and stay away from noise.
Yep.
There's a lot of rah going about or like
social housing.
Yeah, a lot of that. And yes, if you're going to try and jump on bandwagons, it needs to fit what you want to do.
Yeah.
Not
it's got to fit your values, isn't it? I think as long as you're investing and keeping to what you feel, why's your why, and you're sticking to that, then things work.
Yeah, and something you want to actually enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Like if like you're saying, there's a lot of stuff that is noisy, and if you don't want that, then don't just go because everyone's doing it and everyone says it's good. Because realistically, every strategy, we said this, didn't we? Every strategy is good, and everyone is making money from different strategies, but you've got to go with your gut and what works.
And you can start to chase that shiny penny, can't you? Because every strategy, like you say, is good, but if you keep following that shiny penny, you're never going to be right. Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks on like from an investment perspective, there's certain types of investors that are quite happy to leave money in deals.
Yeah.
If they've got quite a lot of cash, they're quite happy to leave that in and just go, do you know what, gives a bit of cash flow. It's fine. I'm not interested in taking the money out again. Leave it in there and just pay me back through cash flow.
Yeah.
Some investors are like, hey, I ain't got that much money, so it's important I get it straight back out. So I'm not interested in cash flow just right now. I just want that flip deals and stuff. Give me my capital appreciation back quickly. So I get it, but you need to know your strategy and stick to it without getting diluted in what other people's opinions are.
Yeah. And also your area as well, and which works best in your area. Because if capital appreciation doesn't work in your area, there's no point in chasing those deals because you're not going to be able to find them.
I love this. So this kind of like brings me into like the north and south divide, right? So, because like on that, right, I would argue there's better deals up in the north for certain reasons, but depending on the certain type of investor, they'll go, no, it's definitely about the south, which I get it because the GDVs are better.
Yeah.
But where does north lie from your perspective?
So I've lived in both.
Here we go.
I would say, obviously, in the Midlands. So to me, it's round about Northamptonshire, I would say.
That's the north from Northampton.
Yeah, north of Northamptonshire.
Okay. Okay, it's interesting. Where does that put Birmingham on the map then?
Well, Birmingham's like to the side of Northamptonshire, down a little bit.
So are you saying that's southern?
Birmingham's definitely southern.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
See, I would have said Birmingham's northern. I would. Yeah. No?
No. Well, technically it's Midlands.
Yeah, I definitely think there's like a little bit there's a belt there, isn't there? It's like, do you know what? We're going to separate the north and the south.
Yeah.
Right? They're the Midlands. They're the people who are completely undecided.
Yeah, Leicestershire,
yeah.
Northamptonshire. That's literally that middle belt, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then anything north of there is north.
Proper northern land.
Who are you?
Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on that same boundary. I think those in middle, that sort of like belt, they don't have a clue which one they're north or the south, which one they swing to, whatever. But in terms of like, we'll always look at Yorkshire and like, well, yeah, we're northern. It is what it is, right? Yeah. Anything south than that is like, ooh, you start debating where you are, you know what I mean? Chesterfield, I think that's still north, but
that is still.
Midlands is that little belt where you're like, you know what? You do you pick one which you want to be in, but that's a bit of no man's land. Yeah. And then anything out of there is definitely southern.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting, that one. I'll that little debate. Anyway, let's go into a bit of the deal structure. So you've done deals, right?
Yes.
And have you been involved in deals with sourcing, or have you been involved in the construction phase?
Yeah, so I've done renovations and flips previously.
Oh, nice.
So that's what I've always specialised in, but not in any kind of like business format. Was just doing it alongside my main job.
That's fine. Well, what were your main job? Give us a plug. What did you do?
So I've been in the beauty industry since being a teenager.
Any tips? Any dreams for this? Yeah.
So I had my own business. I had a salon from age of 19, and then I went into like regional management, sales, beauty, and training. And I was doing property alongside it, and then knew that I wanted to do property full time, but had my children very, very close together, so just wasn't the right time. And then from September last year, I took voluntary redundancy And then that's when I decided to set up as property sourcing, full time. And then now I'm working with bespoke investors, and I've got some deals about to go through legals.
We're having a conversation after this. Go on, what's your story?
So my story is I wouldn't say I'm an accidental landlord. I planned to buy my property. I was on maternity, I had a bit of saving and thought, right, this is my opportunity to buy. So I did. I bought pretty well, but it was quite much of a fluke.
Okay. Go on, talk us through what the fluke.
I just bought it cheap, added a bit of value, and then refinanced it and rented it out type thing. So I didn't know what I was doing at that point. But
I love it.
yeah, I never knew what all the acronyms were. But yeah.
See, yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. But no, so I learnt from that, and then I bought a couple more, and then I've done a flip as well.
Okay.
And then since I've been on the mastermind program, met my new business partner. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of healthy deals in the pipeline. Offers being accepted, so that's where we are right now. And I do that alongside working full time as well. So when I say work full time, I condense my hours down to 4 days. So it's quite intense and stressful. When you've got 2 kids as well, it's there's lots going off. But I think as long as you do the right stuff, you can get it done.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's definitely down to mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, mindset's a big thing.
What do you do for a living at the minute?
So I work for Sky as well.
Yeah.
So I'm a performance manager. Yeah. I do love it though, so that there's no kind of real rush to get out of my day job or anything like that, and it complements the property well. When you're coming for mortgages and finance, it complements it really well.
So like between us, there's a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. And we've all got a bit of hard work, dedication in what we do anyway. But then also we're all parents, aren't we?
Yes.
2 boys.
How many have you got?
2 boys.
2 boys,
Okay.
and they're 6 and.
No, now
sorry.
He's Evan is 8. I definitely know that, obviously. He's 8 and Holly is 12.
Nice.
You say that.
Oh yeah, boys are wild, aren't they?
They're just wind up merchants. You know, I mean, our Holly's a gem. He's going to see this now. He's a gem, but he winds Evan up, and our Evan is like, he thinks he rules the roost, so he'll just fight back. You know? Yeah. But no, they're great. I get them involved in the property side.
Oh, do you? In what way?
Well, they'll be out on construction sites, you know, and everything we do, we'll get them out there, we'll get them familiar with it.
And what do they think to it then? How are
they love it. They just think it's a bigger place.
Do they want to do it? Do they want to go into construction?
I'm interested if they do or don't at the minute. I just want to get them familiar with that. This is actually life. This is what we do. So
this is how we make our money.
Yeah. So yeah, of course. I mean, you give them a digger. What kid don't want to go digger?
Fair dues.
You know. So yeah, absolutely. They think it's hilarious. You know, get them on a building site, do the do.
Love it.
Especially on the strip outs and stuff in the scene. I think this is all funny.
Yeah, they love it, don't they?
Get ready.
Just literally give them something to bash and stripping out and that.
They love it. They absolutely love it. You know, got them little hard hat and little Vizzy vests and whatnot. You know, just tool them up and stuff, and off they go. They get their own little tool bag at Christmas and whatnot. But that's it. But I think for me, it's like you said there. It's like we do what we do, but it's not a chore. When you love it, you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Literally on Saturday, I was saying this with so many people, having the same conversations with people. Even like going out at the minute, obviously we were having this conversation as well. Going out to me at the minute is quite a lot of effort. I don't go out very often because I've got the kids. So, and then the day after it's quite a struggle. But going out at night, I would much rather go out at night and network, and I could do that every night. Obviously, no drink involved, and I want to do it even if I get in at 11 o'clock at night, because it's work, but it's not work. It's enjoyable. I'm meeting people that are so inspiring, having amazing conversations, also helping other people by giving bits of advice, and then you're hearing different people's stories. So I'd much rather do that every night because. Yes, it's technically work, but it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. It's not work, is it? You know.
Well, I mean, I tell Ben it's work.
Listen, this going. You what? You told me.
He says it, but he'll be like, "Oh, you're off out again." I'm like, Ben, I'm going to work. It's not.
Of course I am. I'm doing deals. No, it is. I think. Look, the reality is in this game, it's all about numbers. So we're connected to everyone at World Tour. I think it's 6 people.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, it's like, well, get out there and speak to them.
Yeah.
You know, there are deals to be done. And just connect the dots. And I think when you build up a very credible portfolio, and obviously with yourself, you get a name and reputation. Good people do good deals with good people.
Yeah. And it is like, obviously everyone speaks about like your team, whether that's your connections of people you're doing deals with, whether that's the tradesmen, or where you're getting the deals from. It is just literally a network of people, isn't it? And through that credibility. whether you've done it over time or whether you're just starting out, you build the right connections. You all know how each other works. You work to the same song sheet, basically, and then you get great results and everyone's happy.
Absolutely. So, as we mentioned, right, we're construction based, and we never did, or I never did any like training through property, things like that. We did it the organic route, literally get in, do it. Now, you pay for your education one way or another. You either pay for it at a training platform
Or your mistakes.
or your mistakes, you know. And we were fortunate; we inherited other people's mistakes. You know, so it was a great for us. It was great, but not so great for obviously other people who were misfortunate. But one little golden nugget I'll give you: people don't realise the value of having a really good trades team within your team. Right? They are, once you plant them on a job and say, "Hey, this is your contract. That's what you're going to deliver for me. X, Y, Z, the full T's and C's." They're on that job. They've got eyes and ears.
Yeah.
All your neighbours get curious and they start speaking to, "Oh, what's going on here? What are you building here, mate?" You know, all this stuff. Yeah. If you trained your build team to say, "Hey, please direct them in my direction. Tell them we buy houses. If they're interested, there's my number."
Yeah.
Your build team is the biggest referral partner.
That's a good idea.
It absolutely
I
is.
like that.
You know, and it's a little golden nugget there. I'd definitely take it away with you.
Yeah.
But like, you know, just a little signing window.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, anything like that. But obviously, allowing people to see and, you know,
like
know
what's going on.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Especially, if the house is run down, I know we've had this with our houses, and it's the worst house on the street because typically they're the ones you go for.
Yeah.
Neighbours who have lived in the area do start talking like, "Oh, I wonder what they're going to do with it. Or are they going to tidy the front garden up? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that?" So they will naturally speak to the tradesmen as they see them passing and say, "Oh, do you know what the plans are?"
Yeah.
So that's a really great tip.
Do you know what? They can't wait to tell you about the previous owner. What's the new owner like? Are they going to look after it? And we have a bit of written rule. We don't tell them what's going to happen. We tell them what we're doing. You know, we're doing it all. We're adding a bit of like, you know, we're changing paint. You know, whatever we're going to do. And it's really good conversation. And genuinely, a lot of the neighbours are lovely. Yeah. But there is a lot of conversation.
They're just happy that you're
improving
it, aren't they?
Well, these houses can be dormant for a while. You know, and from their perspective, you're cleaning the street up.
Yeah, it's a nice sore for them, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You know, but I think from my perspective, it's like, if you can connect with a real good team who've got your back it with contracts. Don't just do it on say so, because we've seen this and it has turned catastrophic. So I think the next part of the conversation is like, you ladies are in property, right? Do you have any concerns with working with build teams? Have you got any horror stories, or you know, have you got any sort of like worries of working with build teams?
Loads of horror stories.
Come on, let's get them out there.
Oh God, it's the hardest thing about working in property, I think, and I think anyone that's coming into it that maybe starts out like sourcing or anything like that, and they've never actually done a renovation, it is really hard because it's trial and error initially with like to find your team if you're trying to piece it together, unless you've been recommended like a construction company that can come in and really take that load off you and you can trust. It is hard finding good, reliable tradesmen and tradesmen that work well together to get the job done on time. They don't annoy the neighbours or the surrounding people, and they communicate with you so you know what's going on, everything's on budget and on schedule. But yeah, we same as you, because, well, not same as you, but before I started officially in property and was doing it ourselves, we didn't have the training. We were just learning on the job. Yeah. So we made mistakes. We kissed a few frogs.
Yeah. I've definitely made some mistakes. So on one of the last properties we did, like literally time was against us. Had a tradesman, but then he couldn't turn up. It was a plumber, couldn't turn up. So you know what you do? Didn't really have a build team around me or whatever. So I've gone on to one of these websites, whatnot. I did.
Just a trader.
Yeah, doing like that. Got a cowboy, an absolute cowboy. So I had it done. I had to redo it again, and then he just left my money. Yeah, devastating. So
it's not even just the money; it's the time. Because everything is a time.
Absolutely.
I could have just waited, like for that. I could have waited an extra 3 weeks till that other person could have come back. But no, it cost me 6 weeks because I did it.
And money.
Yeah.
It really is. What's like frustrating? I love that you say cowboy there. Right? I've got a little thing about this. So I will say, like, a cowboy's a cowboy, a builder's a builder, right?
Yeah.
You can't get a cowboy builder. It's physically impossible,
Yeah.
right? Unless he's got a kid on a horseback and he's about to lay bricks, right? But like, what I would say, it's like a rogue tradesman, someone who's pretending to be someone who he's not. You know, and it's like anything. It's like fake it till you make it. No, you need to mitigate that out as much as physically possible, because we are talking about time, and time is money on this
And
thing.
businesses, like if
course.
people are doing property, it's a business.
Yeah.
It's not just a hobby. We're running businesses for investment to be successful and make money.
Well, it's reputational damage at that point then. So the business then has a...
Yeah.
You know, I've been around now for quite a bit of time and doing this. I feel like a fossil here, a bit of a dinosaur. But I have...
How long is...
So I started out in business officially 2012.
Yeah.
And then went into property in 2014.
Oh, wow.
You know, and we started actually with my dad. You know, we came into the business to help us out in the electrical division. With
Who
his
your
background.
dad did?
Yeah. And we ended up launching our property portfolio from that. You know, he brought his pension in there. Ooh, we're going to do what other people are doing here. This is great. You know? And that's what we did. So we used profits from our projects to pump into our own portfolio. And we eventually got enough to then pay my dad's pension back. And at that point, my brother was involved as well.
Nice.
He came from an accounting background, so we built up organically. And we were just copy paste repeating what other people were doing.
Yeah.
So we were shadowing what they were doing. So we inherited their sort of like education, if you want. Yeah, it was great for us, but we had a bit of a shadow thing. We looked after investors while they shared their knowledge with us, so it worked really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, very long.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we built those relationships to long last. I've still got, you know, we've got now business partners from previous clients.
From original.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, one of our closest business partners, we were on a house viewing, and we got asked to go with the property sourcer. And the property sourcer realised at the time, I'm not even going to bother going. I'm going to send the build team, because the build team know what they're looking at better than me. So they're going to give us the information and da-da-da-da-da. And it turns out the letting agent didn't give a monkeys and sent everyone at the same time. So the seller was like, what have you just done? Like every man and their dog.
What, like the builders?
No, so like anyone viewing to buy the property.
Oh.
So everyone rocks up and we're like, well, this is slightly awkward. We're all going to view a property
Like
to buy.
open house
Yeah.
type thing.
Open house, yeah. So everyone's going around, the tape measures flying everywhere, there's distos flying there, and you
They
know,
even did not stagger it at all.
didn't stagger it one bit. So it was very.
Oh,
I mean, for
God.
us, we were loving life. We were just talking to everyone. Hey, yeah, we're a build team.
Yeah,
That's what we do. It was
That
great
could
for
put
us.
people off as well. Yeah.
So it was a great networking.
Yeah.
For us. I was, you know, spilling knowledge everywhere. Did you see the damp here? Look at this. You know.
I mean, putting people off. Yeah. Oh God, that's pricey.
Yeah, you know, from our perspective, is we shared all the knowledge with these people and made sure that
And
they
they're
left.
like, oh, can I get your card?
That's how we started, because we was giving good value initially day one. People were like, this is too good to be true, you're nice. One of them is Mike, he's a business partner today, and that was probably what near was damn it, I think it was like 8 years ago, probably more now.
That shows you, doesn't it?
Well, you lead with positivity and good things come off the back of it, and relationships get built there.
And I think you just need to nurture your relationships. You don't need many.
No.
And I think in terms of investors as well, you don't need to have a massive database of investors. You just need to nurture the few that you've got and grow them. And if you look after them, you'll keep getting repeat business from it.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, you know, to caveat that as well, is like the relationships that you make today are actually for tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, long-lasting relationships, not a get out thing. It's what's the point? You know, that's also for courses. But if you're in this industry for a long time, it's like me. I always say I'm still nappers in this game. So I'm looking at, you know, creating long-lasting relationships. You know, we might not do a deal today, but there'll be time in 5 years. Go, yeah, how you doing? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
You've got that rapport. You know, that it's, for me, it's all about that relationship. So
and property isn't an overnight thing. So you build these relationships. You're not just going to run the next day and go do business together. I know sometimes it happens, but it is a relationship building long exercise, isn't it?
I wish it were quicker. I think the longest, most painful, drawn-out process is the legal system.
Oh God.
You know, there you go. We're not opening that can of worms right now.
No.
But I'm pretty sure AI will destroy that, and it'll sort it out in coming years. But in terms of, you're right, property itself is a long game. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme for sure.
But then it's not. But then you see it all over social media, and people make it out to be like that, and that's what, like, it's, I think, misleading.
Well, that kind of also, that brings me on to sort of like a lot of the smoke and mirrors, but there are a lot of con artists out there. I have seen many investors get burnt from build teams. You know, we were just talking upstairs, weren't we, that I'll try not to name names here for obvious reasons, but I have seen it many, and we've had it done to us. We've had people take us for money, will do work and they'll just not pay us. And you're like, there's people getting fed off the back of this. This is people.
So a customer will sign you up and then just literally not pay.
Yeah, or try absolutely every excuse under the book not to pay. And you end up dragging it out, and then you go months, years before you get your money. Eventually get your money because they have to, because we stand the test.
Yeah.
We've then moved on from that. But I've still seen today some people talk and they will laugh at people and say, yeah, we've sent builders bust because we just dragged our reels paying and they couldn't afford to pay.
That is really bad.
Yeah, and you see people do it. It's a strategy that some people use because if they don't have to pay, then that builder will get it. But you'll see those people. We see it all the time,
You'll sniff them out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good people look after good people, and you'd be a fool to think people don't talk.
Yeah.
I'm in networking groups throughout the country. We always have a quick reference and go, have you heard these people? We're back to talk, have you seen them? And a lot of people, there's absolutely someone knows someone who knows someone.
We've learnt that, haven't we? Like, it's a big industry, but a small community.
Oh, God, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And you kind of all follow each other around the same networking groups. You're crossing over paths. You'll go to maybe a training day down in London, but you still know loads of people there. Like everyone sort of knows everyone from across the country, and word flies around, and people only want to work with ethical people.
Yeah,
of course.
So you only need to do one bad thing wrong, and this comes back to what you were saying about the long game. Because are you in it for the long game? Because if you are, be ethical, be genuine, and you will be in it for the long game. But make one bad move.
Game over.
Yeah.
I've got no shame in saying we've made mistakes before. We've sort of over-promised before and under-delivered on cost, and things happen at each year. But as long as you say, you keep your integrity about, what, hands up, these things have happened, we will still finish that job and get it over the line.
Yeah.
These things happen. It's not ideal, but yet you've kept your integrity and you've dealt with it. You learn, you pivot, you move, and you
face the problem.
Of course you do, head on.
And that's the thing, if you don't face it and then you hide away from it, then you lose that, don't you? I think as long as you're up front, you tell people where you are and what you're doing, I think people are all right to accept it, aren't they?
Of course, but it's like I said, it's a case of managing expectations as well. We've learned from there, and so we're using this platform now, our podcast, to ensure that we're educating from every people. We don't want people to see and experience the negativity that we've physically seen as well. 80% of our clients that we have right now are in distress from projects that have gone bad from previous builders and have asked us to recover them. Wow. So we're using this to sort of say, hey, these are the issues that are potentially working with builders. Let's avoid these by doing X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So one thing
and showing them this is how we work and this is the results then that we get.
Yeah, so it's managing expectations, right? So I don't want to go too deep into this, but what is so crucial with property is that the moment you lift the brick or the moment you do anything to a property in terms of I'm going to paint or change the carpets, you're under CDM regulations. Nobody who is training property knows about the construction aspect. But the moment they do, they're in CDM regulations. Now, if someone was to have an accident from, let's say you've got a painter and he's just painting, it should be a quick flick of the paint, whatnot, shouldn't be too long. But he has an accident, falls over, that person who's instructed that painter is liable.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, it's absolutely shocking that people don't actually know this.
And it's not, well, it is regulated, but it's not understood.
No, it's only until the event happens where there's an accident or something, then that hits the fan, so to speak. But from my perspective, this is where I kind of fall out of love with the training to a degree. I think some trainers need to link up with other trainers and say, hey, this is what we do, but you need to go for that expert advice as well. Because they both are linked.
Yeah.
It's
so they maybe might not give you the information about that, but they link up with a construction company or someone that's got that specialism.
Yeah, absolutely. And so from my perspective, right, this is a mini frustration from me. If I've listened to some of these property trainers say you need to play your builders and drive the price down on your build teams. Now, that one statement alone, whilst I understand being competitive on a price, if you stress a builder and force the price down and they have an accident, you can be seen to be putting them under financial constraints, therefore you've caused that accident.
Oh, right.
Right, so let's put a scenario together. Let's say you've got, let's say you've got a builder and he needs to do a bit of steel work. So he's got to knock out a structural wall. And you say, right, I've got 3 quotes, 10,000, 10,000, and my budget was 5,000. I'm going to go to this building and go, listen, I really like you. and I want to work with you. I want to build a relationship with you. I don't want them.
So please
Can
do
you-
it for 5.
Can you do it for 5? And I'll give you all the work I get.
Oh God, I
You
bet you've
dangle
heard
that
that
carrot.
so many times.
We
haven't
see it
you?
all the time. You think, oh, pull another one.
Yeah.
Like, you really think this is new to me. What you're doing there
Builders are
is,
inundated with work anyway.
of course they are. Well, someone who isn't is a big red flag,
Yeah.
right? But if you dangle that carrot and force that builder to do that work for £5,000, I know he said yes, right? Stay with me. But let's say, for example, he's got no work and he's going through a bad time at home and he's lost his money through, I don't know, CSA or whatever, or he's got some bad debts that he's paying off, and he's actually in a corner where he's got no work and he has no choice other than to accept that because it's the only work he's got,
Yeah.
right? He's not in the right mindset straight away, number one, so he's not compass mentis, but he's now picked up that job and gone, do you know what, I'm going to do it because it's the only job I can get. If he's not concentrating on that job and has an accident, and then all of a sudden he ends up in hospital, hate to see you get involved.
Yeah.
You're actually at fault because you forced him to, one, do that job, right? But secondly, you are aware that that job was not of the equivalent value of what the other prices are coming at. So you've actually caused an accident by being rude and ignorant to the actual standard.
What you said there, though, about saying like training companies that promote that, that's really shocking. And I think that puts me on to kind of, there's a lot of training companies out there, but you've really got to do your due diligence, making sure that you pick the right ones, because that piece of information, that's worrying, because it's like, that's bad, isn't it? Like from what you touched on there, and you've really got to make sure, even when you are providing a training provider, that they've got longevity and they're ethical as well.
Oh, listen.
Also, I've always found, I mean, people are pretty fair and realistic in their quotes, aren't they?
Yeah.
And the more that you do with someone, you kind of know how their pricing
Yeah.
works anyway. But if you're just going to keep haggling someone down for their work, you're not really building a relationship, are you? Because they're just going to think, actually, she's more hassle than she's worth. She always wants it done half price. She gets on at me. She does this and that. Rather than just, if you value their skill set and their team, pay them what they're due.
Yeah.
So this is interesting that we're saying this, right? So we see this all the time, right? Especially if you're doing like a mid-terrace build. So we're at the minute, we're converting some flats, right? And we found an event where this investor's bought this property and it's been fire damaged. It's been set on fire. She knows it's done. She's got a great deal. Happy days. The party wall had been removed by the next door neighbour through their renovation, and they breached the party wall.
Yeah.
Right? And the fire integrity obviously is not there. It's not sufficient.
Yeah.
So now when you look at the property, I've got a photo. I'll show you after this. But you're stood there and you're like, there's no roof on this one. When you look at what should be a brick wall, it's now a timber wall. So therefore, the flats that are actually next door, they're in breach of fire. A timber wall. Now, if a mortgage company knew that, they'd be like, yeah, you're not going to mortgage it.
No.
It's not mortgageable. But yet, someone has done that and thought, that's okay. Now the question is, well, who's at fault then? Because is the landlord going to see it if it's a stud wall's gone up and it's plasterboarded?
And would they know?
You wouldn't.
It's not their profession, is it?
No,
Like,
so they're not trusting the builder. Right? And then you go, well, okay, so who's actually at fault there?
Well,
As the builder, yeah.
Or is it the landlord because they've not checked before they signed it off?
But then...
So there should be sufficient checks.
Yeah.
So then the other thing is, if it was a genuine builder, they would never
I've done that.
have done that.
No.
Because that breaches every regulation in the book, right? However, if you've now got a stressed tradesman because they're having to do it on the cheap, what does the landlord think is going to happen?
It's going to come back on them.
They've hired what you would say is a cowboy.
Yeah.
They've cut corners because how are they going to how do you think you're going to make your money?
Yeah.
What makes me laugh is they say, you need to be cheaper. It's like, well, hang on a second. The materials are what they are.
Yeah.
So actually what you're asking me to do is make no money. And you're asking me to work cheaper.
Yeah.
It's rude, isn't it?
What? You know, it's as if you say, well, do us a favour. You know, in your job and your salary that you've got, will you go and take a pay cut?
Yeah. You'd never do it, would you? Like,
it is difficult. So I think my kind of like sentiment on that is like, build a really good, long-lasting relationship with that build team. Know what the price is. Understand what the price is. Work with your build team to reduce the prices down where you can.
Yeah.
But be transparent with it.
Yeah.
On realistic things. And a good builder will say to you, you don't really need to take that chimney rest out, or you don't need to do it.
Absolutely.
I think you'll
They
get
can
away
advise you,
with-
can't you?
Yeah, they'll make recommendations, won't
Yeah.
they?
Oh god, yeah, but it's like you don't need to have to stop there. It's like the certain products we'll say to some investors, like on the HMOs, for example, with shower screens were a perfect one. We'll say, hey, listen, if you put a 4mm plate glass in versus like a 6mm plate glass, it's not much in price difference, but you'll get a better performance out of 6mm.
Yeah.
So they don't frost up as much as the 4mm.
Yeah.
You know, they're less prone to smash and things like that. A little bit more expensive, but you get the longevity.
Yeah.
of it.
So it's a better product. But yet, unlike your doors, you don't necessarily have to go for the oak ones.
No.
Because really, it's nice aesthetics, lovely for Instagram, but really,
Are they going to get looked after?
Yeah.
is it going to get looked after? What's the maintenance on it? Why don't you go for a nice paint spec? The difference could be £50 per door.
Yeah.
It's
And
a huge
it's still a
difference.
Yeah,
door.
it
It's
is.
still
It's
going
still
to
a door,
work
isn't it?
the
Yeah.
same.
So there's loads of ways to skin the cat, but you need that open dialogue.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, builders that are used to, like you say, you're like doing the HMOs or doing maybe the strategy that you're doing, so they can make those relevant. They're not just doing a standard residential where, oak doors, if you're going to live in that house, would be fantastic, but they're not needed in a HMO.
Well, absolutely, which that takes me on to like my next step as well. So when you go into HMOs, the building regulations are completely different.
Yeah.
And they are slightly different, unfortunately, in areas you go to. Right, South Yorkshire as a whole, it operates on different fire regulations. I know that sounds crazy, but it really is. It's Sheffield and say Rotherham operate completely different. Well, Sheffield and Barnsley operate completely different to Rotherham and Doncaster.
Right.
Doncaster and Rotherham are really like on it, and it's like they are serious when it comes to fire. Whereas Sheffield and Barnsley are a little bit more relaxed because they're like, well, no, actually, it's still a house at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So this comes down to them. Well, as an investor, you're going to work with the build team. You can't just ask a builder, "Can you fit out my HMO?" Because the builder wouldn't necessarily understand the regulations of what required under the LaCourse document to fit out a HMO. So therefore, who's now at fault? Landlord who actually doesn't know, and they're going to assume that the builder knows the regulations, and they're just going to expect the builder. But the builder doesn't have a clue about LaCourse because he's not a fire officer. He's just a builder.
Yeah.
When you get a substandard product at the end of it and go, oh, it's all done, it's painted, it's got carpet, it's everything, it works. When it's not compliant, who's at fault?
Yeah. See, that I would say does come down to the landlord.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because especially with a HMO, like you need to know the fire regulations. That's a big part of being a landlord, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it is your responsibility. So it's then having the correct conversations with a builder to make sure that they understand and that you're both checking them off. So yeah, I think that would come down to the landlord.
Absolutely, of course it is. I mean, from my perspective, we put this filtration system in now. You know, it's a vetting process. So are you aware of your responsibilities, things like that? So
well, that's a good idea.
When you're coming into a project, no matter how big or small it is, way back in like 2015, the CDM regulations were very clear, but they became sort of clouded by, well, hang on a second, if Mr. and Mrs. Smith just get old and they're like, oh, we can't change our light bulb, so they hire next door neighbour as a favour and give them a cup of tea and a biscuit to just come and stand on my 40-year-old wooden chair and change the light bulb as it falls off. Who's liable for the accident? Because he's now broke his leg, he's out of work.
Yeah.
Right? CDM regulations then went, we're changing now.
Yeah.
So they changed that regulation and went, no. It doesn't matter the size of the project. Every project, any project through construction, falls under the CDM regulations. So from our perspective, it's like, hey, do you know your roles and responsibilities before we even engage in this?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you do, fantastic. It looks like this. You do know we're going to do that and you're going to do that.
Yeah.
We assume that everybody doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing.
That's the best way to do it, isn't
Well,
it?
all roles have to be fulfilled to mitigate the back end issues anyway. So it's not no one's after stinging anybody, but we need to mitigate injury. We need to mitigate any problems that are going to come arise from like regulation breaches and things like that, and that's ultimately cost.
Yeah.
But by it being transparent and going through that process,
you save problems down
could
occur down the line.
But so one of our teams, Stevie, will usually say like, builders are a tool in your toolbox. Yeah. You pick them up and put them down as of when you need it. But you really need to make sure that tool is well maintained.
Yeah.
Look after them, they'll look after you.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it comes back to relationship as well, doesn't it? Because it's knowing what that building and once you build those relationships and you know how each other works, what does that builder know in terms of regulations, and what do I need to go through with them and grow on with that?
God, yeah, of course it is. I think we like we did it all old school, pen and paper, and I love pen and paper, things like that. But you've got to get modern now. We've got investors that are overseas that rarely come to UK.
Digital.
Yeah, everything's digital. So we use a platform software, and
So
it's very
is this to
transparent.
do, what is this for like your checks and things, or?
Everything. So all the lads now. So we've got a full vet team. Like Savannah, for example, she'll pester all lads at 4:30. Make sure you got your daily logs on. So that all the crew have got them go onto the phones. You can hear them. You can
Is it
literally
like a
hear them.
WhatsApp group or?
No, it's on software.
Oh, okay.
So they'll log onto the software and we can hear them chunk. We're nowhere near them. They can be on a site, tens of miles away, whatever. And you can hear them going, for God's sake, But they've got to get the phones out and take pictures of their work, what they've done,
Yeah.
put it onto the software.
But it's all systemized, isn't it? And then I think you can rinse and repeat, and you know that you're covering everything like a checklist. And if it's all systemized, and when you're growing and you at rapid speed, you've got to make sure it is.
Yeah. So for example, let's say you're in Hong Kong, right? And you're like, well, I can't get to build site and trust these people.
Yeah.
As much as I want to, it's hard because they're millions of miles away, right?
Yeah.
When you're looking at a Gantt chart that's on a schedule and it clearly says this is what we're going to do Monday to Friday over the next 6 weeks, and then you get a daily log that cross-references that, you can quickly check and go, oh yeah, actually that is that's good. You're getting peace of mind.
Yeah.
But if you can have an open dialogue with them and say, hey, I've seen that. Did you guys remember to do this? Yeah, look, we did that pitch. You've got now an open, transparent dialogue, and that is super, super important.
So you've got a full software system then that logs all of this, and then your customer can just log in and day on day see what work has been done versus what was scheduled.
Yeah, absolutely. Set your baseline, things like that. It's powerful because it's transparent.
Yeah.
And listen, things do happen. We're building out at Market Raising at the minute, new build sites, and typical UK weather. We're outside in the substructure, and it's absolutely siling it down, and that can affect your foundation pour.
Yeah.
So what we're having to do is obviously make sure we pivot and change it. If the rain comes down, and you can't pour. It could be a delay.
Yeah.
So the guys don't want to go to site and then just not be productive. They want to do something. So they'll try and move. Then it's up for us then to relocate that schedule, update the client and say, hey, just so you know, it's rained. It also takes a snap of the weather live as well, so you can see if they're lying or not. So it snaps that.
Wow, it's really in depth then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very linked.
Very
it's
transparent,
fantastic.
which is what you need in
absolutely.
This
industry. Of course it is, because if you can just remove any hesitation of doubt, and you've got very clear, transparent information flowing, that trust is being built on.
Yeah, and again, back to the credibility.
Well, of course it is, yeah.
You're doing what you said you're going to do. And this is my biggest bugbear with tradesmen.
Yeah, I can't wait for this one.
Well, it is. And this is where I think the trial and error comes in. But it's when people say they're going to do something and they don't, or I'll be there tomorrow, or I'll be there tomorrow, or I'll do this, and then it doesn't, and it gets shifted, and you get moved from pillar to post. And fair enough, if it's rained and you can't do work, that's fine. But it's when you just get moved around for no reason, and there's no communication, you don't know when they're going to turn up. I even had it with a tradesman on a project, and I'd be texting him saying, are you coming tomorrow, are you coming? Wouldn't hear anything, and then I'd go one day and he'd be there and he'd be like, well, the stuff's not here. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't know you were coming. Like, if you communicate with me, I will have the stuff here for you, but I need to know. So by you having all that transparency, that just naturally builds that credibility.
Of course it is, because we do the project management side as well, right? We see it from a different perspective. So we'll look at like the financial management of the projects as well. And one question that nobody asks the build teams, and it scares me that it's like, oh my God, how do you not ask this question?
Go on.
What is the financial health of the business?
Of the build construction.
Yeah, of the builder.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna get lied to straight away. Oh, bang on. Of course it is.
My God.
Give it a rest, mate. So okay, how do you fund your projects then? Do you take it on account? Have you got projects on account? Yeah, of course I have. You. Well, I think I do it. Right, okay, so we're building up a report now. Now, I'm not saying you should be ringing merchants and saying, oh, what's their credit limit like?
Yeah.
But when you're doing your due diligence, say, look, do these guys pay on time, or what's the crack? Are they a little bit
Are they healthy?
Yeah, are they healthy? Are you ringing building control and saying, hey, are you signing these guys' projects off? What's their work look like? You're going to get an honest answer. If they don't give you an honest answer, and they're like, sorry, I can't talk to you, like, oh, that's not a great sign, is it?
Yeah.
But I think from my perspective, we see a lot of build teams really cripple projects because they're lying to clients, and they will rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time. And that's a big factor in what you was just saying there, and that they're chasing the money.
Yeah.
So what you might not see, because they don't want you to know, they'll be loyal to some people, going, oh, I'll not tell them that they've not paid me because I don't want it to affect them. But the thing is, she's not paying me, so I'm going to go over there because they're giving me cash up front and I need it because, oh, Lass getting on, I've got to take her out tonight. And there's loads of factors.
And that's why you get moved from.
Of course it is. So you've really got to look at, like, you can't just build a relationship with one person and expect the whole job can be right.
Yeah.
Whatever your team is, be it single tradesman or it's one construction company that's got a good trusted team around them, either which way, there's a lot of relationships. You've got to build them up for the long future.
So do your construction team then, do you do everything from start to finish?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we take a project from complete start to finish, but look, we don't have it all in house. We also have our direct supply chain. Yeah, of course. Decoration's a great one. For example, we can keep a decorator busy all year round, but we want an expert to do an expert's job.
Yeah.
So we hire externals and we've vetted them out, and these are, when you see their work, we learn from painters and say, what makes a job good for you and what makes a job bad for you, and they will all say,
good
plasterer.
Yeah.
Who's your plasterer?
And I've had this problem as well.
So our plasterer will say to us, like, we'll go around and we're like, wow, you're amazing. Like, he's done all these walls in it. And we've got, you are genuinely incredible. He went, right, I've had enough. Slap hand down, he'll say, stop it. Stop blowing the smoke up my backside. Because let me tell you now, a plasterer only plasters. He's never good. It's either not plastering or it's plastering.
Right,
plastering looks like this. It's either smooth and flat.
Yeah.
That's what you pay for. Yeah. That's why you pay me my wages, to produce a flat, smooth wall. So stop telling me I'm good at my job.
Yeah, that's your pay.
And when you think about it,
you do pay someone for doing their job, though, should you?
What I'm actually taking from that is that our levels of expectations must be super low. It's a poor quality of trade. Now, here's a stat for you. I'm going to have to bring it in here because I'm going to go on. Here. The calibre of tradesmen today that prop up our UK's construction industry within the next 10 years are about to retire.
Yeah. Because there's not as many going into the manual trades.
No, they're really not. The backbone of our country's tradesmen are about to retire in the next 10 years. Yeah, the good one. There are some fantastic millennials coming through, and they are very entrepreneurial, they're grafters and they're doing it. But yet we're seeing the generation below really struggling.
Yeah.
They've either been to uni, fell out of love with it, or...
So is this the Z Gens? They're called Z Gens?
Oh, I don't know.
Gen Zs.
Gen Zs.
Gen Zs,
What did I say?
Gen Z.
I love that. Zen Gens.
Zen Gens.
Why don't you think the newbies are coming into construction? Or what's put?
Right. Can I say something?
Go on.
Yeah, you getting offended?
Yeah, go on.
That a lot of the tradesmen...
We're not Gen Z.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but it depends how you mollycoddle your children.
Okay.
Right. So, this was... I don't condone this in any way, shape or form.
Go on.
Yeah.
But when I was brought up, I was like, 17, 18 year old on a building site. And if I ever had my hands in my pockets, Carl and Clive, and I'll give them a bloody mention, and I thank them for it today, but they would whack my hands with an hammer or a shovel, whatever they had there on the hands on. If I ever caught me with my hands in my pockets, they would whack me.
Because you should be busy.
You should be busy. You should always, something's always needed to be done.
Yeah.
Even if you can't do anything because you're not trained yet, you're still
The work
apprentice.
ethic.
You can still pick a brush up and do something.
Yeah.
So we would always be busy.
It's
right?
a mentality thing.
Absolutely it is. And there was an element of, there was a bit of fear factor there, but that's instilling some discipline. The command and control factor was there. Now,
they're not allowed to say it now.
Today you're not allowed to do it. You're not.
Definitely allowed to whack him with a hammer.
I was strung up on a Jesus cross at the age of 18, stripped, ball naked, and left on a cross for about 20 minutes or so.
Was this your initiation?
No, it was just my 18th birthday party. They glued my nads up and greased me up and whatnot, and I was just left there. After about 20 minutes, they felt sorry for me, pulled me back in, and I remember going home and getting in the shower, and my mum's going, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "You don't want to know. I'm glued up and it's everywhere. I don't need it to be." But
scarred.
I'm really grateful for that upbringing because I had a lot of respect for these people. They had my back, I had their back, and we built up a very good working relationship. And I'm not condoning that kind of behaviour, but what I'm actually saying is it instilled that level of, I respect these people, because if I mess up, I'm messing them up. So I need to work really hard to concentrate.
Yeah. And they're trying to build you as a
Absolutely
person.
They do.
And what's realistic.
There were banter, my nicknames were any old iron, Ryan. There was a lot of banter going on, and we all had our own little nicknames and whatnot, and that was the culture we picked up. But I would do anything for those people, and I would never let them down.
Yeah.
Today, you met with kids going, can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You're on about and they want to fight you.
And
You're
they
like,
want to
"What are
work
you doing?"
4 hours a day.
Oh, they want to fight. But yeah, what's
Sat on the
funny,
phone scrolling.
you'll get mum and dad ring up and go, you've said that, Timmy, you worked him too hard. You're going to, and you're like, mate,
No.
Just go.
Like, this does annoy me, and it is.
I'm glad I've not offended you anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to be harsh. Well, no, because we're all the same
Yeah.
age anyway, so I feel like it is a generation thing.
Absolutely is.
And I've had this conversation with like friends and other business owners. It's definitely a generation thing, and I've got family members, like even my brother, that's a lot younger. He's in that generation. He's coming through the other end now, but he definitely went through that stage where they've got a different mindset when it comes to work. And I would say to my brother, now he's doing plumbing and everything now.
Yeah.
But he'd want to work like 1 day a week, and this was when he was like 17. I was like, when I was 17, I had like 5 jobs. I'd come in for a job, go out to a job,
Grafter.
like work for like £3 an hour, like
Just
£1.50 hour. What?
yeah.
Frightening.
But they don't have that same work ethic. Whether this is because now we're of a certain age and we're like, oh, back in our day.
I don't feel old now saying that. That's what my mum and dad said. Oh, you kids don't know you've got these things.
Because now we're old and we're just like, oh, they're not made like how we were.
Well, they're entitled, I believe. There is a level of entitlement, and I think we are too nice. And our generation was the last generation of no technology.
Yeah.
We then end up getting and being introduced to technology. Oh, wow, look at this. I've got a phone. Look how cool I am. I'm hip. We all had poppers. We're out there throwing stones and making our own entertainment. Today, they've got it all on a handset.
They just ask chat what they're right.
Yeah.
It is. It's frightening. Here's what's interesting, right? We were then brought up or ask Jeeves or we would
Ask
Google
Jeeves,
it.
yeah.
Or MSN message, whatever.
MSN.
We would be Googling it. Do you know what kids do today? They TikTok it.
TikTok
They
it.
don't even know to Google it. Like, what?
What's Google?
Yeah, Google's a fossil because it don't give you the answer. You have to search for your answer.
Yeah,
So lazy. Whereas these kids today are TikTok it, they get it instantly.
To be fair, I've actually given
Here we
up
go.
on Google now, and I just ask
Gee,
chat
we do.
everything.
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
Because you have to scroll through Google
Yeah.
to find the answer, whereas you just go on chat and it does that for you.
Google sort it out. But yeah, it is. It's quite frightening. So no, I think there is a level of they've been mollycoddled.
Yes.
You know, back in the day, you'd get a clip round here. You know, if you were doing wrong, I had my mouth washed out with soap once. I think I said bugger or something.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. It might have been worse.
But that'd be
I'm sure
childhood
it's
now.
No, childish, yeah. I'm not being funny. I didn't say it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a clap round back at legs or something. Got my bare ass out and slapped.
And you'll never forget it.
No, but I don't like. I don't
Slight
disapprove
trauma.
of it. Yeah, listen. I think it moulds you to who you are
Yeah.
today. My kids, I stand them up against what I don't now. But I'm getting press ups now. But when they were naughty before, and you had to split them up. Like, right, you in that corner, you in that corner.
Yeah.
You know, but now it's completely different. I'll get them doing press ups and whatnot. Right, come on, get it, and I'll get them active.
Yeah.
But get them out on buildings.
Ah, that's
A bit of burst of energy.
Yeah, it's over, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Tire them out.
I think we've got to be free, in my opinion anyway. I think we have to be free to discipline. You know, I'm not saying smack your kids and things like that, but like to be bringing them into a construction site. We've got there's a minor. He's 17 now. He's 16. That's right, he's 16. He's at school doing his studies, and school have given up on him. Had enough. He's a complete rogue. I mean, the lad that I'm talking about, he was in a coma, at a bad time, just a freak accident kind of thing. But he's coming out and he's really, really motivated. But he's clearly not conditioned for school life.
Yeah.
He's just not. His brain's not braining that way, you know. But his manual labour, it's
great.
impressive.
Because he's a more physical,
Yeah.
hands-on
But
person.
school have given up on him. But what they've done is they've chucked like one throw at the dice and said, you know what, for 2 days a week, get yourself out and find a job. So he's coming. He works with us like.
But
on
that's
Thursday,
good
Friday.
because that will obviously serve him best.
Well, from our perspective, we've given him a full sort of offer of intent.
Yeah.
We'll give you a full opportunity to have a
That's
modern
amazing.
apprenticeship with us.
Yeah.
Get your grades.
More
make sure
people
that
should
it's-
do that.
and We'll do
Yeah.
it. You know, but this kid's literally coming out. He's really energetic. Can't wait to get back on site with us. He wants to sack school off. You know, we're saying
Well, school doesn't fit everyone, does it? Every kid, and like,
no, and that's it.
yeah,
I was actually like that, and I do think like you are either a hands-on
Yeah.
type person or an academic
Mhm.
person.
Yeah.
And someone like anything that's like hairdressing, beauty, construction, tradesmen, like sports, you're hands-on. To be sat down in a classroom for however many hours a day it's difficult, isn't it? So I think going off and actually getting those skills, even if he doesn't stay in construction, but being hands-on will, and being around the right people who will discipline him in a different way to how he's being disciplined at school, will serve him well in the future.
Definitely. So, like, you'd be very fortunate to work with our sort of like more senior team members. I mean, they're sort of like Mark, Brucey, they're sort of like 60, 61-year-old now. So, in the next 5-10 years, they'll be looking to take step backs and then obviously the industry. That will be a very sad day for me because he's learning from the best now as long as he takes that opportunity. But the backbone of our industry is they'll be gone in 10 years, right? And it fills me with a lot of fear because we're now into an industry where the government have said, hey, we're going to build way more houses. And I'm sat there going like,
how?
It's not enough. Who's going to build it? Like, what are you going to do? Literally, they'll have to resort to IKEA flat pack houses, get them built in factories and then erect them. And that's all of a sudden now we're going for volume over quantity. The quality of product will be absolutely substandard. And it scares me to the point of we have lost our identity of building a great Britain. We used to build impressive buildings, things that we're proud of. You have back to road bricklayers, the ones with the bowler hat. They were the ones in the the proper suit and whatnot, bowler hat, and they would create the most amazing houses. The houses that we buy today, the Victorian and Georgian houses, they built them with pride. They all got paid the same, but the better quality tradesmen, back to road bricklayers, they build them. And today we're throwing up with speed, and they're not going to last.
Well, it's always the way, isn't it? Even if you're buying houses, as soon as you go in like a 1970s or 1930s type house, they're built so much more different, aren't they? Well, even from a 1930s to 1970s, the difference in the build. You can notice the difference. And then obviously to a modern day house.
Well, here's one for you. We were talking about this very recently. We're going to put into our marketing strategy for selling these houses how we build the houses, like a step by step. Because we heard people say, I don't want a new build house because they're just like thrown up and they're not after. And we're like, no, they're not. We still build them traditionally. So we build them with brick and block. So our internal walls are brick and block. Like, we are building solid houses. So I'm sat there going, no, hang on a second, hang on. The perception of new build, of course it is. Because, a lot of the modern, bigger house name builders, they are throwing it up. Timber framed. And you're like, wow, you can hear your mum and dad talking in the kitchen when you're upstairs. It's like, no one needs to hear that, especially when you're a teenager. Right? So we're like, no, we're going to use this as a USP. We are building solid houses. Quality. And it's sad that we've now to use that as a USP because the whole of Great Britain should be building.
It's quality over quantity, isn't it?
Well, it is. So as an investor then, would you buy traditionally a new build house?
No, never.
I've never liked them. Never, ever.
I'm gutted you say no. And I agree with you.
Sorry.
No, it's not, because the reality is that's what we're producing.
But maybe
when did that become
I tell her, but for me personally, I would as an individual, but I wouldn't for an investment property, I don't think.
I like the values that you've got there. You're not going to provide crap quality to your clients. I like that, but I do agree with you. It's such a shame that this is our era. Our era is building these.
And like you say, we need more of them. So that is going to be the future, the new houses.
Yeah, the only thing that brings us to a sense of pride is that we're not contributing to that with the stock. Okay, we're not going to be able to build it as a mass scale what these, house builders are. But, I mean, it's...
But you're sticking to your values, though.
Yeah, we're doing what we're doing. We can only control what we can control, right? And it is sad that we're having to then use that as a USP. It's like, what have we come to? Like, us as a nation, we used to be great at, like, building, you know what I mean? Engineering. We used to be amazing. Now, we must look at, right, laughing stock. It's all volume flat pack based stuff, you know what I mean?
I've come from a family of builders as well. My family came over from Ireland. They built it. And my granddad and dad still are builders.
God, I dread to think what their opinion of this would be. No, they're not like they used to be.
My dad does work on big developments as well for a company.
Yeah. He'll have his own opinions on it. And, so we're doing like a little series with our master craftsman builder, Mark. And he tells like at age of 14, I used to get the slipper and the cane and whatnot. So we're doing like what's the life of a master craftsman look like? He started work at age of 14.
I did.
14.
14.
It's impressive.
I think again that comes down to a generation thing.
Absolutely, it does.
But whereas now, some of them are like 21 and
Yeah, never had a job.
Never had a Saturday
Still
job.
not got a
Yeah.
job. It's frightening because it's like, oh, you can't do that. I said child abuse. That. It's like, what? Are you kidding? I had a paper round. I used to work as a lifeguard. That's not a plug. I used to have my apprenticeship, and I used to work at I wanted cheap tools. So I ended up
I'm
really
trying to
working
think
at
what my
Mason.
first job was.
Well, that was a good idea.
Yeah, I got me a little switch on. I then realised that lads just take mickey out of me because they'd be like toy town tools, not proper tools. I didn't know, you know.
No.
What I mean?
Yeah, but it was still learning though, wasn't it? 'Cause
I
then you
was
realised,
loaded.
I
Yeah.
actually want the bigger, better tools.
Do you know what? Thinking back, I had my first job at 14, 15, and it was in like a private school, washing up pots and serving. I think I got quite a fair whack for that. Thinking about it.
We should
Yeah,
put this to the test.
I did.
We should put this to the test.
Yeah.
What is the average age someone starts work today?
Yeah.
We need to find that out.
I reckon it's not below 19.
No, I think 20. 20s.
That's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
What have we
After
become?
uni.
What do you be 20?
And even then, it's a push. They
Yeah.
can't only do a couple of days.
Yeah, and I think when I can see.
That's not having a dig at the generation.
Yeah, it is. No, it's not. But they don't know, do they? They're coming out entitled.
Yeah.
Look, from our perspective, it's like I am seeing the master craftsman tradesmen in the next 10 years retire.
Yeah.
It's our generation coming through ranks. It's like, look, there's not many of us who are doing this. You know, what are we pulling through?
Yeah.
Schools aren't driving people into modern apprenticeships. Really hard.
Mm-hmm.
From our, we've taken maybe, I don't know, of the lifespan, 50 as a
What apprentice?
apprentices, right? We've probably got one or two.
Which is still actually quite a lot, isn't it?
It's a lot, but we've only got one or two that have actually stood the test of still in the trade today.
1 or 2.
Yeah, one or two.
Wow.
Very, it's a small.
Yeah.
We've had some that have quit to be bus drivers. Some that have quit and they'll go and so a plumber, great lad. You know, we trained him from straight into college, and he's now a gym instructor. You're like, what? What happened?
And he was really good.
Yeah, really good, but just
That's
didn't
a
like the
shame.
cold noise. Just didn't want to get
Mhm.
get grafted.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't be. So he's now a fair play to him. He's look after his body. He's a gym instructor and whatnot. Does his cars. But now we've got we had one that was a bus driver. One that went, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm going to join military. Realised that was hard, so we went into something else. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, who's going to carry the can?
Yeah.
What you know?
And a lot want to
can't.
do like the creative sort of content.
Well, we're seeing now the tradesmen, if you want, they're laying, but they've all got a GoPro strapped to them. And
Yeah.
they're only doing that to actually generate income to get out of the tools
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So then the question is, well, who's going to build this country?
Good
Scary.
question.
Well, it's an exciting thing for us because we're currently here, so I'm not going anywhere. So-
Good.
but the problem is then, it's then
need
comes
to
out
expand.
well, it's supply and demand, isn't it? But how can we expand if there's no one there to produce the same
expand
quality?
Yeah.
We're trying to train that calibre of tradesmen coming through
And
the
how many
ranks.
have
But
you got within your team now then?
there's about 36 of us.
Oh,
in
wow,
the
so
whole
it's,
crew,
so
so-
it's a decent sized team.
Yeah, but when you look at the plasterers, so it's the plasterers. So Steve, who I was telling you about, the guy who's on
Is
plaster.
it just a smooth one?
Yeah, he had a son when he was at age 14, William. And he said to me, I'll tell you now, Ryan, forget your 16, forget your 17s, they're all cocky little. Can't say
Yeah.
that word. They've all got a little chip on their shoulder and they will never be told. They always know best and they'll always talk back to you. He said, get them when they're young.
Yeah.
Because they will
because you
not
can
have an
mould
attitude.
them.
Yeah, you mould them and
Yeah.
you'll create them. So yeah, he's had it is they are unreal. He'll hate me for saying that. Because they're just doing their job. But when you look around, all of our team have been instilled from a generation above.
Yeah.
Every one of them. You know, they're carrying that. Even my dad's just a Trojan, he's a workhorse. Can't stop him, he's
So
ready
does
to be
he still
retired.
do
No,
electric?
No, retired at home, but yeah, you can't put him down. He's still got a tool, still got his toolkit. Don't take it off him, he'll still do
Still
stuff.
2 bits.
I mean, I bet my mum's laughing their head off. The house is fully done, he's redoing it again before it's even out of date.
Yeah.